Almost every time a studio releases the fourth film in a franchise, it ends up being terrible and harms the entire series. Are there some that manage to escape this fate? Yes, but they are few. Studios love to meddle with trilogies that are already finished and perfect as they are, and then they add a fourth film that, if not well thought out, with a good story and bringing back beloved characters, doesn't work out. So get ready, because today you're going to learn about the curse of the fourth film. In this video, I've listed 9 movies that received a fantastic and unexpected fourth sequel. Some of these managed to escape the curse, but even so, none of them are the best in their franchise. There is one that surpasses the third. Those that escape the curse maintain the quality and essence of the trilogy. But some, oh my god, really? Remember, this is just my opinion. Feel free to comment if you agree or disagree with me. Let's start this list with the fan favorite of the year, Fu Panda 4. Honestly, this is one of the biggest proofs of how a fourth film can ruin a franchise. I've talked about my opinion on this film several times on the channel, and everyone already knows. When a studio thinks, let's make a fourth film in a franchise, at the very least they need to have a good story and bring back the beloved characters. Not just bring them back, but make sure they have a decent amount of screen time, not just a cameo. Like the Furious 5 in this film, I don't even need to mention it, right? And I think one of the biggest mistakes of Kung Fu Panda 4 was how they put together the trailer and delivered the film. The trailer already featured Tai Lung. Everyone thought, wow, the guy is back and he'll have a significant role. That created a lot of hype. And then in the film, what happened? One of the most powerful villains in the franchise gets beaten up, loses the fight in 3 seconds, and almost hugs Po. Not to mention the absurdity of Lord Shin and Kai's appearances. Let's agree. I even made a video discussing this in more detail. If you haven't seen it yet, click on the card after this video ends. Man, the villain's part was frustrating. That was the biggest mistake. If they hadn't created that hype in the trailer and the film had turned out the same way with the same story, it would still be incredibly bad, but less frustrating. And it only took one film to lower the level of a franchise that was already enjoying its beautiful and perfect trilogy. And as if that wasn't enough, Kung Fu Panda 5 is going to happen. No comments. Now, one that managed to maintain the essence of the trilogy and that I liked quite a bit was Hotel Transylvania 4, or Hotel Transylvania, Transformania. In this film, the monsters turn into humans, and Johnny, who is human, turns into a monster. I love this plot. Usually, with each new film, a bunch of new characters join the franchise, often in groups of 3, 4, 10 new characters, but in the Hotel Transylvania franchise, very few characters are added throughout the entire series, and yet they manage to maintain good stories across all 4 films. That's not something everyone can do. It's also not the best of the 4, but it's not bad. If you're enjoying this video, please leave a like, because it helps the channel a lot. If you're watching me on TV, you can also leave a like. Just scroll down a bit on the screen, and it's a success. Pirates of the Caribbean 4, or Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. I try to like this film, but the romance between the guy and the mermaid doesn't work for me. Many people also say they don't like it because I think the narrative was built in a strange way. Maybe if it had been done differently, it would have been better. There are parts that I do like in this film. There are fantastic scenes, especially the way they reach the Fountain of Youth. But one of the details that makes this film bad, and for me it's the worst of the 5, is simply not bringing back Will and Elizabeth. Even though their story was concluded in the trilogy, once they decided to make the 4th film, there should have been a narrative for them. Otherwise, it would have been better to leave the franchise as it was and end it with the 3rd film, because they were important and beloved characters for the franchise. They, along with Jack and Barbossa, are the face of the series. At least when I watched the 4th film for the first time, I felt like something was missing. Ice Age 4, a great film. This was another that didn't fall into the 4th film curse. It's a bit inferior to the first 3, but it's not bad. It has an interesting story, the important characters return with significant roles, and a new group arrives in this film, the crew of Captain Gut. A spectacular point about Ice Age 4 that needs to be mentioned is that it's one of the few fourth films where the original characters still hold importance and relevance, while the new characters also have significance and relevance. Everyone contributes to the story, and everyone gets a decent amount of screen time. Unlike Toy Story 4, what a bad film! Toy Story 4 is that film nobody asked for, but since we're fans of the franchise, we watch it, right? And it was a disappointment. Remember, this video reflects my opinion, and for me, it's the worst Pixar film. This film brings back all the classic characters, but they barely appear, and if you add them all up, they probably have about 10 lines in the entire film. Buzz is made to look foolish, Jesse, Ham, Rex, and the rest are insignificant, and they even introduced Forky. Oh, what a boring character. Woody and Bonnie were loving each other's presence, but in the fourth film, they don't care about each other anymore and don't miss each other, even though the third film had built up their relationship. Otherwise, Woody should be with Andy in college. Every film needs character evolution. A character should move from point A to point B. In a trilogy, this is explored even more, meaning characters are more developed because there are 3 films. Then, in the fourth film, some franchises run out of things to explore with the characters, adding many new ones who sometimes they are good and sometimes they are not. When this happens, you'll notice the beloved characters get mixed with the new ones, leading to a crowd of characters with each one getting little screen time. Toy Story 4 couldn't escape this curse. It's a shame. Now, about my second favorite live-action film franchise. Remember that live-action refers to films with actors and actresses, not just the remakes Disney does. Rocky Balboa. Man, I love this franchise, especially the first 4 films. Some people will agree with me, and many won't, because some people love the first 3 and don't care for the 4th, while others like it up to the 4th. But to enjoy the 5th and 6th, it takes an extra dose of dedication. Rocky 4 is fantastic in my opinion. In this film, you already know Rocky very well, you know Apollo very well, and you become quite familiar with the characters. Then Drago arrives, looking to beat them up, and you kind of buy into that fight alongside them. As a viewer, you become Rocky and Apollo. It's a fourth film filled with tension, with a story that keeps you engaged. The franchise could have ended there, and it would have been great for me, just as great as your subscription to this video. It's free and takes less than 2 seconds. Thanks! Despicable Me 4 is a good film, but it's not the best in the franchise. It managed to keep a good story, but there are already too many new characters. The girls have less screen time, Gru Jr. didn't add much to the story, and the Mega Minions seem like they were just included to sell products, unless they repurpose these characters in Minions 3. Until the third one everything was perfect, and while the fourth isn't bad, it's starting to slip a bit in the narrative. Jurassic World. This is the first film of the second trilogy, but the fourth film in the Jurassic Park franchise. I felt some strong similarities between this film and the original from '93. There's the dinosaur expert, the woman who helps him, 2 kids, and a dangerous dinosaur escaping from its enclosure and causing chaos in the park. It's not a bad film, but it doesn't surpass the original. Shrek 4. This is another film with many characters, but manages to maintain the ideal screen time for each, bringing back the essence of the characters and surpassing the third film. For me, Shrek 4 is better than the third. This film makes a drastic change with the characters, exploring what the world would be like if Shrek had never been born, what Donkey, Puss, and Fiona would be doing if they had never met Shrek. That was brilliant, and it also carries the lesson that sometimes we complain about trivial things and always want more, forgetting to appreciate and recognize what we already have. The simple things are reasons for happiness, and complaining is a huge waste of time. As the saying goes, you don't appreciate what you have until it's gone, and the film shows this exactly. Shrek 4, Forever After won't be the final chapter, and Shrek 5 is coming. But who will be the villain in this film? What if I told you it could be Mickey? Click here to understand this better. And to fix the mess that was Toy Story 4, the fifth film is also on its way. And from the revealed synopsis, it looks like it could be a good film. Thank you so much for watching until the end, and see you in the next Cine Lovers.